Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Possible exposure to a toxic substance sends more than a dozen people to the hospital. A forklift accident at a Rockford airport cargo operator caused the incident.
Also near the airport, one person is dead after a crash involving a semi. Investigators released what they believe happened to cause the fatal collision.
And President Biden will deliver his second State of the Union address tonight. We have a preview from some Illinois lawmakers. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson.
Rockford firefighters respond after workers are exposed to a hazardous material at the Rockford airport.
Jess Lipson is live outside one of RFD's cargo businesses. Jess, how many people are involved?
Eric and Mimi, 15 people were exposed to a dry powder chemical release. The symptoms are minor inhalation issues. All were brought to the hospital. This all began before noon. What started as a medical call was quickly expanded to a hazardous material incident. The 55-barrel drum with the chemicals exposed the facility, and all were evacuated without distress. A short time ago, fire officials explained how this happened.
At this point in time, what we're knowledge about is that there was a forklift that was operating inside and may have come in contact with the barrel. So at this point, that's really all we know.
The fire department has left the scene, and a safety incident company has taken over the cleanup. For now, live in Rockford for your home team, I'm Jess Lipson. Back to you guys.
All right, Jess, thanks for that live report. One person is dead after a crash this morning. First responders were called to Samuelson and Falcon Roads around 9 for a car versus semi-truck. Police say a Jeep was driving westbound on Samuelson Road while a semi-truck was traveling north on Falcon Road. The Jeep driver disregarded a stop sign and ran into the semi. The driver of the Jeep, a 41-year-old man from Rockford, died at the scene. He was the only one in the vehicle. The man has not been publicly identified. No word on whether the driver of the semi was hurt. The road was closed for several hours, but has since reopened.
3 people are arrested after violence during a drug deal in Rockford. Police were called to Cottage Grove Avenue near Greenwood Cemetery for shots fired. Officers were told a witness saw someone shooting from a house towards a blue SUV. As police were checking on that house, officers on Church Street stopped a blue SUV that matched the description of the vehicle from the shooting. Investigators report finding a loaded handgun in the car. Police arrested 22-year-old Kyviana Fields, 40-year-old Eugene Flanagan, and 24-year-old Tawan Williams. The 3 were all booked on drug and weapons charges. In Freeport, police are looking for the suspect in a Monday night shooting. Officers were called around 9 to McKinley Avenue near FHN Memorial Hospital for shots fired. Police found a home hit by bullets. No one has been reported hurt. Officers say this was not a random attack. If you know anything about the shooting, call Freeport Police or State Line Area Crime Stoppers.
We now know the name of the woman found dead in the Rock County Jail last week. She's 29-year-old Nicole Lemke of Janesville. Last Thursday, officers were conducting routine checks in the housing units. They discovered Lemke lying on the floor of her cell. Medical staff were called in. However, she was pronounced dead a short time later. An autopsy has been completed. The cause of death is pending.
The federal child tax credit gave families relief during the pandemic, but Congress could not agree on a way to continue that program. Now lawmakers in Springfield give it a try. This push is coming because the federal government failed to extend its version of the credit. A group of progressive lawmakers filed a bill this week. The program would work for single-income households that earn $50,000 or less and joint filers making up to $75,000. Families who qualify would get $700 per kid. Supporters believe the targeted tax relief would go to families who need it most.
We know that sadly Congress failed to make permanent the expanded child tax credit, and this is why we're stepping up here in Illinois. We want to be an example to the nation, and we ask our colleagues to support us to make a state child tax credit.
The group Economic Security for Illinois argues the program would cost anywhere from $700 to $800 billion.
In a few hours, President Biden will give his State of the Union address, and it will include his plans for the latter half of his term. Illinois' congressional delegation will be in attendance, along with their guests of honor. Newly elected Congresswoman for the 13th District, Nikki Budzinski, is bringing a union worker. She hopes the president focuses on tackling inflation and strengthening the middle class. Republicans like Mike Bost hope he focuses on different issues.
I'm really hoping to hear the president talk about a couple of things that I think will really resonate with the communities in central and southern Illinois. One is our economic recovery.
I hope he answers what he's going to do with the border and how it is we're going to deal with the drug issues that are occurring with fentanyl all across this nation.
Congresswoman Mary Miller is boycotting the speech. She invited Colonel Mark Hurley, who retired from the military because of the vaccination requirements during the pandemic. Local Congressman Eric Sorensen will be sitting in on the State of the Union for the first time. Earlier today, we asked the 17th District representative what he wants to hear from President Biden.
I do hope he talks about and touches on is the resiliency of middle America. We are the heartland. We build things. I'm in the district where the first plow is manufactured. We build cars in this district. We see things from the beginning to the end, and we need to make sure that we're putting the investment in the worker of the Midwest.
A single ticket in Washington matched all 6 Powerball numbers to win the 5th largest jackpot in the game's history.
The lucky ticket holder won the nearly $755 million prize. That winner can choose to receive a one-time cash payment of $407.2 million or one immediate payment followed by 29 annual payments that increase by 5% every year. 2 tickets in Michigan, 3 in New York matched all 5 white balls to win a $1 million prize. 1 Powerball ticket sold in Texas for a small additional fee known as a power play option matched all 5 white balls to win a $2 million prize. It's the first Powerball jackpot winner since November.
Rockford Promise makes changes to its mentoring program.
Coming up, an increase in students forces administrators to get creative.
Clouds clear out here as we go through the rest of this evening, making for a beautiful sunset within about an hour's time. Temperatures today made it back up to that 40-degree mark, but we'll see the numbers drop a little by the end of the week. That with some rain and some snow potential too. I'll time that out for you coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Scott Lever, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
A program that helps Rockford students go to college is forced to change some things up due to the amount of students in the program.
This means the group needs more volunteers. Nikel Delgado talked with one person supporting these scholars. Nikel?
Eric, Mimi, Rockford Promise provides full tuition to scholarships for Rockford Public School District graduates. Mentors say that the program isn't just about students going to college. One goal is to provide support to get them through.
There's 150 scholars this year. That's a lot of kids going to school with this tuition free.
Lisa Shimon is a Rockford Promise mentor. She says it's rewarding to help students transition into the start of their college career.
Like a chance for kids to give us their questions and their worries, and maybe just we have tips or resources, things to share.
The mentoring program was one-on-one, but Rockford Promise has grown so much it's transitioned to mentoring circles. One student says having some guidance makes a big difference.
It's definitely helped me a lot. My major is political science, which is pretty difficult. So having just a group of people I could talk to for support has really been great.
Rachel Johnson graduated from Guilford High School. Now she's a freshman at NIU. Rachel's honored to have a mentor who wants to be a part of her college journey and a group of students who are on the same path.
All these people in my group know exactly what I'm going through. We're all from the same places, went to the same school mostly, going to the same school now. So it's just great to have a support group that I can rely on.
The mentoring program meets once a week over Zoom. Lisa says being a mentor is not a huge commitment, but there is a need for more volunteers to help and grow the next generation.
The goal is to get these kids going to college and coming back to Rockford and being a part of our community and really, contributing back after they get done with school. So this is something that can affect our whole city and really make it a better place to live.
Lisa tells me there's a great need for mentors. If you are interested in the Rockford Promise Scholarship or becoming a mentor, all that information to apply is on this story at mystateline.com. Eric, Mimi?
Thanks, Nicole.
After a cloudy morning here in the state line, the sun certainly came out to end the day.
When we come back, Candace shows us the rainy days we have coming later this week, but it won't be long before even more spring-like weather is here. Our forecast is next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
It's nice to see the sunshine out there late this afternoon following the cloudy and kind of damp start we started off at this morning. Temperatures in the 30s with some of that sun. We were able to make it back into the low 40s in a couple of locations. High pressure building in will help kind of ease the wind a little too, as we've had some gusty westerly winds for a time here this morning. A live look with our SkyTrack camera down in Rochelle. Beautiful sunset here this evening. Temperatures will continue to drop back. Notice the snow really melting away over the last 24 hours thanks to those warmer temperatures. And there are actually a couple ways that we can get that snow to melt. One way, the obvious reason, you've got the sunshine warming temperatures. Of course, when the temperature is below 32 degrees, you don't get much snow melting away. Next way to kind of melt away some of that snowfall, our next process through a process known as sublimation. That's the transition of a solid directly into the gas phase. So a lot of times you see this when the wind is really strong and it's kind of whipping over the surface there of the snow. It kind of just goes right from that solid snow phase into that gas phase. What we had here is a high dew point air mass. It might not have necessarily felt overly muggy, but our dew point temperature is in the low 30s. That's a really good way to melt away a lot of that snow, especially when you get that at night. So more moisture leads to condensation. Condensation releases latent heat. That latent heat helps to kind of evaporate and melt away that snow. Now, the only problem with that added moisture in the atmosphere could lead to some fog here going through the night. Could be some patchy, dense fog in a couple of spots as our winds will turn light and we've got that clear sky as high pressure builds in. So temperatures right now are in the upper 30s. We'll see that number drop through the low to mid 20s for the start of tomorrow. Maybe some freezing fog too in a couple of locations. We'll just have to see kind of how fast that wind does calm as we go through the night. Up to 44 for tomorrow afternoon, little early morning fog. I think we do see some sunshine, but by the afternoon, cloud cover comes back in, and eventually that is going to lead to some rainfall by tomorrow night. So whatever little snow is left on the ground is going to go away, especially once we get some of those rain showers to move in. So here are temperatures starting off in the 20s for tomorrow. Winds will kind of work in from the east and southeast during the day for our Wednesday. We'll see that cloud cover thicken up through the afternoon. Notice most of our Wednesday going to stay dry. So not really anticipating many issues there for us as we get out and about. As we go through Wednesday night, area of low pressure, this low going to strengthen a bit. As it does and moves through central and northern Illinois, it'll pull in quite a bit of moisture. So we'll get some decent rainfall coming in closer to midnight Wednesday into very early Thursday. I think early Thursday we've got rain coming in. Some heavier pockets of rain with this as our temperatures for the most part right now look to stay above freezing. But as we get through mid-morning Thursday, colder air wrapping in, we could see that mix in and then transition over to some snow, especially across southern Wisconsin, far northwest Illinois, where some slushy accumulations are possible. But I think the better chance for some of that snow accumulating will stay up across Wisconsin and northeast Iowa, where they currently have a winter storm watch in place. Still could get a little messy for the Thursday morning commute, especially with the rain, and then if you get any mix or kind of a back and forth of that wet snow and rain mixing in. A few snow showers will be with us on Friday. Temperatures will briefly drop back, but guys, I think our numbers are going to warm once again getting into next week.
Keep those temperatures coming. Thanks, Candace.
Scott's in next with sports. Jalen Hurts is hoping to add his name to the list of quarterbacks who've won Super Bowl championships.
And wait until you hear what Aaron Rodgers plans to do to help him make a decision about his future.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
Legacies in the NFL are built in the Super Bowl, especially for quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes has won one already. Now Jalen Hurts will try to join the elite club of quarterbacks who won the big game. In one season, Hurts has gone from a bit of a question mark to an MVP candidate. He's only 24 years old, so you got to believe this won't be his last Super Bowl appearance. But he's not willing to wait on a championship.
You playing games like this, it's about the details. It's about, eliminating external factors, things that don't matter, and focusing on what's important. And I feel like all year that's kind of been my mentality going into every game. Focusing on what's in front of me.
Well, if you think Aaron Rodgers is a little odd or at least different, this will only confirm those feelings. He told Pat McAfee today he'll make a decision on his future after he goes on a 4-day darkness retreat after the Super Bowl. He says he'll go into isolation in a dark room for 4 days and 4 nights to clear his mind. He says he has friends who have done this. Someone will slip him food and drink through a slot in a door, and there will be a bathroom in the room. He'll be doing this at a house, he says. The Bulls have a tough assignment tonight on the road in Memphis to face the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have the second best record in the Western Conference. On top of that, the Bulls are playing back-to-back nights. Will this be the night that LeBron James becomes the NBA's all-time scoring king? He needs 36 points to pass Kareem. The Lakers will be hosting the Thunder. Now, James is averaging 30 points per game this season. He is certainly more than capable of getting 36. Now, your Fighting Illini basketball schedule might indicate there's a home game tonight against Minnesota. Well, that's been postponed because of a COVID situation within Minnesota's program. The game will be made up February 20th. The NIU Huskies are going to host Ohio University tonight in DeKalb. If you haven't been paying attention, the Huskies are putting together a pretty solid season. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. At 6-4, they are 5th in the MAC standings. And they've been rising despite missing their top scorer, Keyshawn Williams, with an injury for the past month. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Candace will have another look at the forecast coming up.
First, News Nation has a State of the Union preview.
Welcome to the nation's capital, where tonight the president will address an anxious country, from China's spying and Russia's war to classified documents and the economy, along with the border crisis. What's the report card at the midpoint of the Biden presidency? Join me, special guests John Kasich and Mick Mulvaney, Chris Cuomo, George Will, Chris Steyerwalt, and the best political team anywhere. Special live coverage from Washington, D.C. starts tonight, 6 Central, only on News Nation.
Catch that coverage on any of the cable or satellite stations you see here. You can also head to newsnation.com.
Well, skies will stay clear here as we go through the night tonight. Nice to be able to see some sunshine once again this afternoon, but that clear sky could lead to some areas of fog, so just kind of keep that in mind tomorrow morning. The First Warning interactive radar stays pretty quiet for us tonight, but we are going to see some rain move in by tomorrow night. That could actually transition or at least mix over with some snow there during the first half of the day on Thursday. Windy too. Winds are going to pick up Thursday afternoon, gusting 35 to even 40 miles per hour. Low 30s Friday, Saturday, back into the 40s next week.
All right, thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some of your time with us. Stay safe.